My family deliberately did not come to my graduation, which I had dreamed of. I changed my name and turned my life around 350 degrees. Mason, where are you? The defense starts in 45 minutes. The moment I read the text, my stomach just caved in. Mom, I'm at Patterson Hall. The same place I've been reminding you about for 8 straight months. There was this dead, awkward pause on her end. Patterson Hall. Sweetheart, we thought that wasn't until next Friday. We're actually at Chase's backyard barbecue right now. Everyone's here. We can't just pick up and go. I stood outside the building in my freshly pressed navy suit with my doctoral regalia folded over my arm, feeling like someone had punched a hole straight through my chest. Mom. I'm defending my dissertation today. I become Dr. Mason Brennan today. And you're at a barbecue? Hi, I'm Mason. And today I'm going to tell you how my own family forgot the most important day of my life, and how I made sure none of them ever forgot me again after that. But before I get into the whole story, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss more stories like this. To understand what happened, you really have to understand my family, because none of this makes sense without that context. I'm the middle child of 3, stuck right between my sister's perfection and my brother's privilege. My older sister, Lauren, she's 34, has that effortless beauty people envy. She's married to Carter, a corporate attorney, they've got 2 picture-perfect kids, and she runs a boutique consulting business from home. Really, all it means is she goes to Winanchi's networking nights a couple times a month and takes pictures for Instagram. My younger brother, Chase, is 27 and the gold-plated favorite. Dad handed him a spot in his commercial real estate company even though Chase's idea of good work is basically submitting mediocrity wrapped in confidence. Everyone praises him like he's rewriting the laws of physics. He just proposed to his girlfriend, Autumn, and for half a year their wedding plans swallowed every single family conversation. Then there was me. 30 years old, practically invisible since elementary school. We grew up in Austin, Texas, with more than enough money to stay comfortable. We weren't billionaires, but we had the kind of upper-middle-class life where you never wondered if the bills would be paid. Dad built his real estate business from scratch, and Mom worked part-time decorating luxury homes. From the outside, everything looked polished and perfect. But if you were me watching from the sidelines, it felt like I lived in the background of my own family. I was always the one achieving the most, and somehow always the one getting noticed the least. When I became a Rhino Merit Scholar, Lauren got a Lexus that same week because her charity gala hit a donation goal. When I earned a full ride to Rice University, Chase's entire tuition at UT was covered by our parents, while I worked 3 part-time jobs just to afford basic living expenses. It didn't take me long to understand the family rules: work twice as hard, get half the acknowledgement. But earning a PhD in environmental engineering from Stanford, 8 years of intense research, developing groundbreaking work in sustainable water systems. I really believed this was the moment they would finally see me. This was the kind of achievement no one could ignore. Back in October, I mailed them the official announcement, Stanford letterhead, all formal and impressive. I posted it 3 separate times in our family group chat. May 17, 3 p.m., Patterson Hall. I can't wait to celebrate this milestone with all of you. My message sounded way too hopeful, looking back. Mom replied 4 hours later with, "So proud, honey." Lauren added, "Amazing, sis." Chase tossed in a casual, "Nice work, Mason." Dad didn't say a thing, not shocking considering he barely checks his phone. I should have taken the hint right then, but I kept convincing myself that this time they'd show up. November and December rolled around, and I mentioned the defense at literally every gathering. We did Sunday dinners at my parents' house twice a month, and I was usually the only kid who consistently bothered to come. Lauren always had something going on with her kids. Chase always had these urgent work situations that magically lined up with family time. In January, while I passed around roasted vegetables, I said, "Defense is in 5 months. May 17th. You all have it saved, right?" Mom, scrolling through her phone, said, "Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it." "It starts at 3, I told her, "but I'd love for you all to come at 2:30 for pictures." She murmured without looking up. Dad was buried in whatever he was reading on his tablet. "What's that, kiddo?" he asked, not even glancing up. "My dissertation defense." My PhD, May 17th. Oh. Right. Got it on the calendar. There were warning signs all over the place, but I kept pretending everything was fine. Then February hit. Chase blasted the family chat with an announcement for his huge annual spring barbecue at his new place in Westlake Hills, brisket, live band, cornhole tournament, the whole production. The invite read: May 17th, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Chase's legendary spring barbecue bash. My heart practically stopped beating. I texted immediately. Chase, that's my defense day. 20 minutes later, he replied. Oh yeah? What time's your thing? 3. It runs about 2 hours, plus photos. He wrote. People can easily do both. Just come after. We'll celebrate you too. Chase, Stanford is an hour away without traffic. There is no both. Mason, I already invited 70 people. I can't move it. Just swing by later. I dialed Mom instantly. Did you see Chase scheduled his barbecue on the same day as my defense? I saw. Isn't that amazing? He's really becoming such a great host. Mom, you know you can't attend both events. There was a long pause. Mason, don't be dramatic. We'll make it work. Mom, the date has been set for months. Chase planned his today. He put so much work into this event, sweetheart. All his co-workers are coming. Carter's bringing his partners. And I'm defending my doctoral dissertation. And we'll be there. Honestly, stop catastrophizing. But I already knew the truth deep down. March became a blur of me double-checking. Calling each family member individually. Texting reminders. My best friend from Stanford, Riley, told me I was overthinking everything. They're your parents, Mason. They'll be there. You don't know them like I do, I told her. Monday before the defense, I texted Mom again. Just confirming, Saturday, May 17th, 3 p.m., Patterson Hall. Of course, sweetheart. Written down. Wednesday, I texted Dad. Looking forward to seeing you Saturday at Stanford. Wouldn't miss it, kiddo. Thursday, I called Chase. You're still coming, right? Yeah, he said. But Autumn really wants to stay at the barbecue the whole day. She's super stressed about the planning. Chase. My dissertation defense. I know. We'll figure something out. Friday night, I called Mom one more time. She answered on the 5th ring, sounding rushed. Hi, honey. I can't talk long, I'm at Chase's helping him set up for tomorrow. My stomach flipped. Set up for what? His barbecue. The rental company brought the wrong tent size, total chaos. Mom, my defense is tomorrow. I know, sweetie. 3 o'clock, right? Yes. And you're coming? Of course. See you there. Gotta go, the caterer's calling. And she hung up. Saturday morning came, and even though the defense wasn't until 3, I woke up at 6. There was no way I could sleep. I put on my crisp navy suit, tailored perfectly, bought just for this day. I did my makeup carefully, curled my hair, and made sure every detail was flawless. I'd earned this moment. 8 years of non-stop research. Hundreds of nights with almost no sleep. Everything had led to this day. I'd spent years pushing the limits in my field, and that afternoon, I finally earned the title I'd been working toward, Dr. Mason Brennan. Riley swung by to pick me up at noon. Her parents had flown in from Philadelphia with her twin sisters, bringing flowers, a handmade banner that said, "Congratulations, Dr. Brennan," and enough excitement to light up the entire building. Is your family meeting you there? Riley's mom asked while we drove. That's the plan, I said, trying to keep my voice steady even though my chest felt tight. By 2 o'clock, I was in Patterson Hall arranging my notes, running over my slides one last time. My phone buzzed. A text from Lauren. Chase's barbecue is insane. The brisket is unreal. Wish you could swing by before your thing. My hands actually trembled. I typed back, my thing is in 1 hour. She didn't respond. At 2:15 I called Mom. She answered over loud music and people laughing in the background. Mason, where are you? We're all at Chase's. I'm at Stanford, Mom. The same place I've told you about for 8 months. What? No, honey, we thought your defense was next weekend.
and something inside me just cracked. I sent the official announcement in October. I've mentioned it at every single family dinner. I called you 3 days ago to confirm. Well, we're already at Chase's barbecue, she said. Everyone's here, his co-workers, Carter's partners, neighbors. We can't just leave. I'm defending my doctoral dissertation, and you chose brisket over me? Don't you take that tone, young lady? We got confused. These things happen. We'll celebrate next week. These things don't just happen, Mom. I've reminded you over 20 times. You're being unreasonable. Don't ruin Chase's event by turning this into drama. We'll see you afterward. And she hung up. I stood in the hallway while other doctoral candidates rushed around me in their regalia. Everything felt frozen. Riley found me staring at my phone like it was a foreign object. They're not coming, I whispered. They said they got the dates mixed up. They're at Chase's barbecue. Riley's whole face twisted with anger. Mason, you've been talking about this for months. I know. This is your PhD defense. I know. She wrapped her arms around me. My family's here. We're all here for you. At 2:45, we processed into the auditorium. My committee, Dr. Patterson, Dr. Reeves, and Dr. Okafor, sat at the front, brilliant people who had shaped every step of my research. The audience wasn't large, but the people who mattered were there. Riley's family in the front row, other doctoral candidates cheering for their friends, a few research partners I'd worked with. The 5 chairs I'd reserved for my family sat untouched and painfully empty. Right at 3 p.m., Dr. Patterson stood and called the room to order. Today we are here for the dissertation defense of Mason Elizabeth Brennan, whose groundbreaking work on sustainable desalination systems for coastal communities marks a major advancement in environmental engineering. When I stepped up to the podium to present 8 years of my life's work, I saw Riley's dad holding up his phone to record, her mom clutching tissues, and her sisters waving encouraging signs. Meanwhile, my own family was an hour away, eating barbecue. The defense went on for 2 hours. I walked through my innovations, explained my methodology, answered every question with the clarity I'd honed over nearly a decade. And then Dr. Patterson said the words I'd been dreaming about. Congratulations, Dr. Brennan. Your dissertation is approved with distinction. Riley's family burst into applause. Other candidates cheered. Even my usually reserved committee smiled. I'd done it. I'd actually earned my doctorate. But those 5 empty seats in the front row looked like open wounds. During the photo session afterward, Riley's mom tried to make me feel better. Your parents must be so proud, she said softly, standing beside me in one picture. I smiled for the camera but didn't say a word. My phone rang and buzzed through the entire evening. Riley's family took me out to an upscale steakhouse downtown. Her dad raised his glass in a toast. To Dr. Mason Brennan, your talent, your drive, your passion, they're going to change lives. Be proud of what you've done. I tried to hold it together but I ended up crying into my filet mignon. Around 8 o'clock I finally checked my phone. Dad. Sorry we couldn't make it, sweetheart. Mixed up the date. Dinner next week? Chase. Congrats. Sorry we missed it. Barbecue ran late. Huge success though. People are already talking about next year. Lauren. Hope the defense went well. Let's do coffee soon. Mom. You're being unreasonable, Mason. It was an honest mistake. Stop being dramatic. An honest mistake. 8 months of reminders. Multiple confirmations. Letters. Texts. Calls. All tossed aside because Chase wanted to show off his brisket. I didn't answer any of them. On Sunday Mom called 6 times. I ignored every call. Then she texted. This silent treatment is childish. We're your family. Call me back. I blocked her number. Then Dad's. Then Lauren's. Then Chase's. On Monday morning I drove straight to the Travis County Courthouse. In Texas, changing your name is surprisingly simple. You just file a petition. I filled out the paperwork, changing my legal name from Mason Elizabeth Brennan to Mason Elizabeth Morrison, my grandmother's maiden name. Grandma Callahan had been the only person who ever truly saw me, asked about my research, understood why it mattered. She had passed away 3 years earlier, but her support felt more real than anything my living family had ever given me. 2 weeks later the judge approved it. Legally Mason Brennan was gone. I had already accepted a position with an environmental consulting firm in Portland, Oregon, about as far from Austin as I could get without leaving the country. I told my family I was considering a few offers, but I never gave them details. Now I simply vanished. I changed my phone number. Made new social media under the name Mason Morrison with max privacy. Shut down my old email and opened a new one. Updated all my professional accounts with my new name and Portland address. Every emergency contact changed to Riley. In early May the moving company arrived. I boxed up my entire Austin life and shipped it straight to the Pacific Northwest. Riley helped me pack up the last boxes and load them onto the truck. Mason, are you completely sure about this? She asked quietly. Cutting them off for good? They cut me off years ago, I told her. I'm just finally making it official. They're going to lose their minds when they figure it out. Good, I said. Maybe for once they'll get a taste of what it feels like to be invisible. I didn't leave a forwarding address. I didn't owe them one. Portland greeted me with gray skies and a steady drizzle. Honestly, the perfect weather for someone trying to fade out of their old life. My new firm, Eco Solutions Northwest, didn't just appreciate my work. They treated it like it actually mattered. My first assignment was a water reclamation project for drought-stricken communities. For the first time in my career, people listened to my ideas without acting like they were doing me a favor. 3 weeks after the move, curiosity finally got the best of me. I'd kept one thing from my past, my original phone powered off, buried in a drawer. I turned it on. 83 missed calls. Over 200 texts. Mom. Mason, where are you? This isn't funny. Mom. Your father and I are worried sick. Call us back right now. Dad. Your mother is beside herself. Whatever happened, let's talk. Lauren. Did you seriously move without telling us? That's unbelievably immature. Chase. Dude, what's going on? Mom's losing it. Mom. I called Stanford. They said you finished your degree but wouldn't give me your new information. This is ridiculous. Dad. We're sorry about missing the defense. You're blowing this up way bigger than necessary. Mom. I filed a missing person report. The police need to know you're safe. I actually laughed when I read that. I was a 30-year-old environmental engineer with a doctorate. I wasn't missing. For the first time in my life, I felt found. I deleted the messages and turned the phone back off. 4 months into Portland, I was thriving. My research was being published. My coworkers invited me to happy hours and actually showed up. I started dating a civil engineer named Ethan, someone who thought my obsession with sustainable water systems was interesting, not nerdy or boring. Then Riley called one night. Your mom tracked me down on LinkedIn, she said. What did she want? Your location. She's telling everyone you had some kind of breakdown and disappeared. She wants your new number. Don't give it to her, I said immediately. I won't. But Mason, they're still your family. No, I told her. Family shows up. Family remembers things. Family doesn't ditch a dissertation defense for a barbecue. They're just people I used to know. That's cold, she said. That's honest, I replied. 6 months after I left Austin, my great-aunt May, Grandma Callahan's sister, passed away. I saw her obituary online. Unlike the rest of my family, I'd stayed close with her. She sent me a card after my defense. Congratulations, Dr. Morrison. Your grandmother would be so proud. She lived to 91, lived a full life, and she deserved the respect of me showing up to say goodbye. So I booked a flight to Austin. The funeral was at Riverbend Chapel, the same place where we held my grandmother's service years earlier. I walked inside wearing black. My hair was shorter now, styled differently, and somehow the smaller changes made me feel like a different person. I didn't look like the ignored middle child anymore. I looked like Dr. Mason Morrison. Mom spotted me first. Her face went through a whole slideshow: shock, relief, anger, confusion. Mason? Where have you been? Portland, I said simply. Portland? What are you doing in? She suddenly stopped. Your job. The one you refused to tell us about. I told you I was considering offers, I said. I accepted one. Dad came into view with Chase and Lauren trailing behind him. They stared at me like I'd walked in wearing an alien costume. You can't disappear for 6 months without telling anyone, Dad snapped. Actually, I said, I can. I'm an adult with a doctorate. I don't need permission. Lauren stepped forward. This is about your defense, isn't it? You're still holding a grudge. A grudge. I kept my voice controlled, but something sharp crept into it. No, Lauren. Grudges are for petty crap. This is about finally recognizing the truth. And what truth is that? Chase asked. That I spent 30 years being invisible in this family, I said. And I finally made it official. Mom's eyes welled up. How can you say that? We've always loved you. Love and attention aren't the same thing, I told her. Love isn't the same as showing up. You all chose a barbecue over my doctoral defense. After 8 months of reminders. That told me everything. We made a mistake, Mom insisted. You made a choice, I corrected. A mistake is buying the wrong milk. You all decided that brisket and cornhole mattered more than my PhD. That's not fair, Chase snapped. We got the dates mixed up. 20 reminders, Chase. Emails. Texts. Calls. Printed invites. Sunday dinners where I said it out loud every single time. I looked him dead in the eye. You got confused because you didn't care enough to remember. Dad tried his authoritative tone. Mason, you're being unreasonable. We're here now. We can move on. You're here for Aunt May's funeral, I said. You've been here, my whole life physically, but you've never actually seen me. That's not true. Mom's voice cracked. We've been to plenty of your events. Name one, I said, arms folded. Just one. They all looked at each other. There were things, Lauren said weakly. Name one. Silence. You can't, can you? I said. Because you weren't there. Not for my college graduation, you were celebrating Lauren's anniversary. Not for my master's defense, Chase had a golf tournament. Not for my research presentation, you were at someone's birthday brunch. Not for anything. Maybe if you'd reminded us more, Chase muttered. I reminded you 23 times, I said. And you still picked barbecue. The funeral director appeared at the doorway. We're ready to begin. Thank God. I sat with Aunt May's side of the family. People who sent congratulation cards, checked on me, remembered my milestones. After the service, I headed straight for my rental car. Mom hurried after me. Mason, please, we need to talk about all of this properly. There's nothing left to talk about. You changed your name, she said, voice trembling. Do you have any idea how it felt to find out our daughter legally erased us? You wanted me invisible, I said calmly. Congratulations. You finally got what you wanted. That's not what we wanted, Mom insisted. If that's true, I said, then you should have shown up when it actually mattered. I opened the car door. I'm happy now, Mom. I've got coworkers who respect what I do, friends who remember important dates without being reminded 20 times, and a partner who thinks my research is meaningful. I don't need people who couldn't even be bothered to write down my doctoral defense correctly. So you're just done? She asked, voice breaking. You're never coming back? I'll come back for funerals, I said. That's the best I can offer. Then I drove away, watching her shrink into a tiny figure in my rearview mirror until she disappeared completely. A month later, a letter showed up at Eco Solutions. They had literally called every major environmental firm in Portland until they tracked me down. 5 handwritten pages from Mom, part apology, part justification. She was sorry. She was overwhelmed planning Chase's party. She wrote the wrong date. Dad depended on her calendar. An honest mistake. She begged me to come home, begged me to forgive them. I slid the entire letter into the office shredder and watched it turn into confetti. 2 months after that, Chase showed up in person, barreled right past reception and stormed into my office while I was reviewing water system layouts. We need to talk, Mason. No, I said. We really don't. You changed your name, he said, stunned. Morrison. Like Grandma. Yeah, I replied. She's the only one who actually showed up for me. Mom cried for a week. And, that's supposed to make me feel guilty? I asked. It's messed up, Mason. We're your family. You're people who share my DNA, I corrected him. That's not the same thing. Because we missed one event? He shot back. You didn't miss one event, I said. You missed every event. My defense was just the moment I stopped pretending that didn't matter. That's not fair, he argued. We've been to your stuff. Name one, I said, leaning back in my chair. One event that meant something to me. He opened his mouth, then closed it. His face said everything. There were definitely things, he started. You can't name a single one because you weren't there, I said. Not for my college graduation. Not for my master's defense. Not for my research awards. Not for the celebration when my paper got published. Nothing. But you were at my engagement party, he said defensively, and my housewarming and every barbecue. Exactly, I said. I showed up for everything you cared about. I've spent years celebrating you. All of you. Maybe if you'd communicated better? I sent 23 reminders about my defense, Chase. Professional announcements. Texts. Calls. In-person conversations. I spelled it out so clearly a toddler could have followed it. You still chose grilling meat over my PhD. He had nothing left to say. I'm happy in Portland, I told him. I'm surrounded by people who respect my work and actually show up. I don't need anyone who couldn't bother to remember the biggest day of my life. So that's it, he asked. You're really done with us? I told Mom, I said calmly. I'll come back for funerals. That's it. He stormed out angry. I didn't lose a minute of sleep over it. Lauren tried next. Her approach was guilt. She sent me this long lecture by email about family obligations, forgiveness, and how I was hurting everyone with my selfishness. I replied with one sentence. You texted me about brisket during my dissertation defense. We have nothing else to discuss. She never messaged me again. Dad was the last one. Almost a year after I'd left Austin, he sent a short email. I'm sorry, Mason. You deserved better from me. I hope you found happiness. It was the closest anyone in my family had come to genuine accountability. I wrote back. Thank you. I have. That was 3 years ago. I'm 33 now. Lead engineer at Eco Solutions. Published researcher. Recognized expert in sustainable water systems. And last fall, I married Ethan. Small wedding, just friends and his family. Riley stood beside me as my maid of honor. Ethan's parents walked me down the aisle, beaming like I was truly theirs. My birth family wasn't invited. They found out through social media after Ethan's sister posted the photos. Mom mailed a card, something about how deeply hurt she was to be excluded. I tossed it in the trash without opening it fully. People sometimes ask why I won't give them another chance, why I'm so harsh about one missed event. but it wasn't one event. It was 30 years of being overlooked. 30 years of being an afterthought. And it all snowballed into the one day they should have treated as unforgettable, and didn't. It was choosing barbecue over a doctorate. It was ignoring 23 reminders because they couldn't be bothered to write down one date. It was finally understanding that they would never see me, not the way they saw Lauren's social calendar or Chase's mediocre career or Lauren's kids' soccer games. And honestly, if your family repeatedly chose someone else's cookout over your life's greatest achievements, would you stick around hoping they'd eventually notice you? Or would you disappear too?